You ever looked up at the moon and thought, what if that thing just fell? No. Well, you're about to. Because if the moon suddenly decided to stop minding its business and crash into Earth, you wouldn't just have a bad day. You'd have the worst final day in human history. At first, you'd notice something strange. The moon's getting bigger. Not a little bigger, alarmingly bigger. Like, hey, was it always this close? Bigger. But it's not just a visual. As it approaches, gravity goes nuts. See, the moon isn't just a pretty nightlight. It's the reason we have tides. Its gravitational pull gently tugs at Earth's oceans. But now, that pull isn't gentle anymore. It's straight up aggressive. Suddenly, tides rise by dozens, then hundreds of feet. Shorelines disappear. Coastal cities flood. Your beach house? Gone. Actually, most beaches? Gone. And here's the twist. You're not safe just because you live inland. The moon's pull starts dragging water far beyond its usual limits. Rivers reverse. Lakes overflow. Water becomes a weapon. And it doesn't stop with the tides. Earth itself starts to feel the moon's tug. Our rotation, yeah, that thing that gives us 24-hour days, starts to shift. Days grow shorter. You might get 18 hours, then 12. It's like the world is speed running toward disaster. Animals get confused. Birds migrate in the wrong direction. Sea turtles lay eggs on parking lots. Weather patterns flip. Hurricanes where there used to be deserts. Snowstorms in summer. Nature is losing the plot. Meanwhile, tectonic stress builds. The Earth is literally straining under the gravitational tension. Small quakes rumble in places that have never even heard of earthquakes. And you're standing there, probably still thinking, okay, but maybe it'll slow down. Maybe the moon will just orbit really close. Yeah, no, it's not stopping. In fact, it's getting faster. And that's when you realize, this isn't just about tides anymore. Because the moon's getting close to something called the Roche limit. And when it crosses that invisible line, the real chaos begins. But we'll get to that in a second. For now, just know, you haven't even seen the worst part yet. So the moon kept falling. And now it's crossed the Roche limit, basically the do not cross line of space. It's the point where Earth's gravity becomes so strong. It rips the moon apart like a cosmic stress ball. And that's exactly what happens. Chunks of the moon, some the size of buildings, others the size of cities, start breaking off and plummeting toward Earth. You know those peaceful meteor showers people camp out to watch in the summer? Yeah, this is not that. This is a full-blown celestial bombardment. You don't grab popcorn. You grab cover, if there's any left. First, it's 1 or 2 hits. Then 10. Then hundreds. Within hours, the sky looks like a war zone. Fire trails streak across the atmosphere. Sonic booms rattle windows, those that haven't already shattered. And every impact feels like a small nuke going off. Satellites, vaporized. GPS, useless. The International Space Station, gone in a blink. Space junk rains down with the rest of the moon debris. Your Wi-Fi, let's just say you won't be watching any How to Survive the Apocalypse tutorials. Massive explosions light up the night sky, turning it into a second, way angrier daytime. Fires break out across continents. Forests go up in flames. Cities catch fire from impacts or the sheer heat in the air. It's chaos from above, non-stop, and utterly unforgiving. And here's the wild part. You're not even being hit by the main moon yet. This is just the shrapnel. The Earth's atmosphere is filled with smoke and ash. Breathing becomes harder. The temperature rises. Crops start to wilt. Animals panic. Humans, well, we're not doing much better. You might find yourself thinking, okay, surely this was the worst of it. But no, because through all that fiery madness, the biggest chunk of the moon, the one that didn't break apart, is still coming. And when it lands, it won't be a meteor strike. It'll be more like a planetary reset button. So take a breath, if there's still air to breathe, because what happens next makes this part look like the opening act. All right, deep breath, because here comes the moment everything changes. The biggest chunk of the moon, maybe half of it, maybe more, is now hurtling toward Earth like a cosmic wrecking ball. It's massive, it's fast, and there's absolutely no stopping it. The only question is where it's going to hit. Let's say it crashes into the Pacific Ocean. Seems like a soft landing, right? Water might cushion the blow. Nope, not even close. When this thing hits, it displaces so much water that the oceans literally leap into the sky. Tsunamis race out in every direction at hundreds of miles per hour, swallowing coastlines, islands, and continents like they're sandcastles. The impact itself? Catastrophic. A crater forms that's bigger than countries. The force released makes the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs look like a drop bowling ball. Everything within 1,000 miles? Vaporized. Instantly. But the damage doesn't stop at ground zero. Shock waves ripple through the planet, circling the globe multiple times. Mountains crumble. Skyscrapers fall like dominoes. Entire cities are flattened in seconds. The ground moves like liquid. Roads twist. Rivers shift. Earth becomes unrecognizable. And then comes the heat. The collision sends molten rock and debris flying into the atmosphere. Firestorms spread across continents. Trees combust without warning. Animals can't escape it. Neither can you, unless somehow you're already miles underground in the safest bunker ever built. Earth's axis wobbles from the blow. The planet literally tilts. Seasons change. The length of days and nights might never be the same again. The moon, once gently orbiting above, has now rewritten the rules of the planet. Time zones? Forget them. Calendars? Worthless. The world you knew no longer exists. And as you try to comprehend the sheer scale of the destruction, you might be thinking, well, it can't get worse than this, right? Hate to break it to you, but this was just the moment of impact. The real nightmare begins in the aftermath, because Earth isn't done shaking, burning, cracking, and what's left behind might make you wish it had ended here. So the moon hit. You survived the impact somehow. Maybe you were in a bunker, maybe in a submarine, or maybe you just have unbelievable plot armor. But now comes the aftermath. And in some ways, it's even worse. For starters, the fires. They're everywhere. Forests, gone. Grasslands, scorched. Cities, still smoldering. The air is thick with smoke, and the skies are painted orange, like a permanent sunset. Except it's not pretty. It's terrifying. The moon's impact shook the entire planet, and now the tectonic plates are throwing a full-blown tantrum. Earthquakes strike non-stop. Massive fault lines split wide open. You know how you used to see maps of continents? Forget that. The outlines are gone. Redrawn. Broken. Volcanoes all over the world, from the Pacific Ring of Fire to places that haven't erupted in thousands of years, are waking up. Lava spews. Ash clouds rise into the stratosphere. You think you're far enough away to be safe? Try breathing through volcanic ash. It's like trying to inhale sandpaper. With all that ash in the air, sunlight can't get through. Global temperatures plummet. Welcome to impact winter. Crops fail almost instantly. Plants need sunlight to live, and there's none to give. Animals start to vanish. Ecosystems collapse. The food chain snaps in half. And the people left? They're not just trying to stay warm. They're trying to breathe. Oxygen levels drop. Toxic gases swirl. You're wearing a mask 24/7, if you even have one. And water? It's either boiled away or full of debris. Clean water becomes more valuable than gold. Human civilization, as you knew it, is done. Governments? Collapsed. Communication? Gone. It's back to basics, if you can even find the basics. The Earth itself is wounded, bleeding fire and ash. And as it limps through this new reality, the question becomes unavoidable. Could anything survive this? I mean, if this is what life after impact looks like, the bar for survival just got raised into the stratosphere, right along with all that moon dust. So let's talk about it. Could anyone, actually make it through this lunar apocalypse? Okay, so Earth just got body slammed by the moon. Half the planet's on fire, and the skies turned into a smoky horror film filter. Is there any hope? Could anything survive all this? Shockingly, yes. But don't get too excited. Let's start with you. If you had a well-stocked underground bunker, deep, reinforced, with air filters, clean water, and maybe a few hundred cans of beans, you might have made this far. But survival isn't just about avoiding the first wave. It's about enduring the months, or years, that come after. No sunlight means no farming. No farming means no food. And with global temperatures dropping fast, the surface becomes unlivable. You're not walking outside for fresh air anytime soon, or ever. But while humans are struggling to stay warm and breathe filtered air, some creatures are built for this chaos. Deep sea life? Thriving. Those bizarre, glow-in-the-dark creatures living near hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean? They don't care about fire or ice. They've been chilling, literally and figuratively, for millions of years without sunlight. Microorganisms living in rock, ice, and extreme pressure environments? Not even blinking. Okay, they don't have eyelids, but you get the idea. These tiny life forms are the ultimate survivors. Some might even outlive us again if we mess things up this badly. A few cold-blooded reptiles in insulated crevices, certain insects, fungi, and bacteria. Life finds weird little pockets to hide in. Earth won't be wiped completely clean, just mostly. And over time, thousands, maybe millions of years, life could come back. The skies might clear. Plants might regrow. Animals could evolve again. Maybe even intelligent life will rise and look at the shattered moon chunks and ask, what happened here? As for the moon, well, it's part of us now. Literally, scattered across Earth's crust, melted into oceans, buried in our atmosphere. That glowing friend in the sky, it's not watching over us anymore. It joined us. So next time you're gazing up at the night sky, take a second and appreciate that little gray rock just quietly orbiting. Because the day it decides to crash the party, it's game over.